here. It's Friday and we are in the shop. And we've got the belt adjustment motor bracket done. These screws here, there's 4 of those, and they allow for aligning the motor to the pulley to take up any variation in the bottom plate here. And of course these 4 here are the hold downs. New motor, new pulley, belt tensioning device here and here that allows for, allows for tensioning the belts. Here's something else we have to address on this trip hammer. If you notice, the upper anvil is in there crooked, and I've tried to pound the gib out of there and it's galled in there. Plus it looks like the wrong anvil. I think the anvil needs tapers on both sides, so there's a good possibility I'm going to have to take that ram right off of here and cut that anvil apart to get that out. So we're going to need to take care of that, because it looks to me, if you tried to use it that way, that it would probably crack the ram. Also, if you notice, the top anvil and the bottom anvil don't even hit square, so we'll be addressing that here in the near future. We do have the clutch free now. You can see that it turns independent of the motor until you push the brake, and then it locks right in. So put a little oil in there. I believe that's some kind of fiber or leather lining in there. So we're gaining on it. What we have here is this little small trip hammer, and the customer has decided that he wants me to make a new top die. This is the top die for this, and interestingly enough, these are shaper marks. This part was made with a shaper, so it must go back a good ways in time. But height-wise, it looks good. 3 inches high. It's only 1.5 inches wide. Stock die for this would be 2 inches wide, based on what I've read. But we have an issue with the bottom hammer as well. The bottom hammers are also supposed to be 3 inches tall. Now you can see that this thing is only about 2 inches high, so roughly 1/3 of the life is gone off of this thing. I don't know for sure whether we'll be able to use that or not. But in any case, the first step to this, when putting the hammers back in this or fitting them with new hammers, is you have to make sure the bottom is reasonably flat. And this one is really not too bad. It does have a little bit of sinking, but I think that we can get by with it. But we do want to take the ridges off. There's a kind of a ridge that goes along here, and there's quite a build-up right here where it's sunk down in, and I think we'll take a little bit of that off. Also, this surface here should be pretty flat. It's really non-working. There's some of those. There are some people will use this top surface along with a skill saw to face off the bottom using a grinding stone. And I just noticed something here. That is not the bottom. That is a shim that somebody has placed in there. I didn't see that before. I can almost lift that right out of there. Yep, it's a shim. I'll be go to heck. Did not see that. Well, that changes things just a little bit. I'll get back to you once I think through this a little. Okay guys, with our latest discovery, this might have turned into more work than I thought. What appeared to be a nice flat surface down below turned out to be a shim. And when I removed that, the bottom of this is beat down in probably a good, looks like a good 1/4 of an inch deep on the one end. And I don't feel good about that. So I'm going to have to talk to the owner and see if he wants me to go ahead and resurface the bottom of this area in here. And if we do that, then we will put a compensating shim in there, but at least we'll assure that we have a good bearing surface down below here. So that's what I'll do. I'll talk to him and see how he wants to handle it. I hope that's what he wants to do. I would hate to have him put the shim back in here. It's not fully supported, so what will happen is this bottom die will just keep beating down in there deeper and deeper, trying to seat itself. Eventually that easily could damage the casting. So I'll let you know what I find out there. Okay, we have this key fit now for the top die, and it's locked in there pretty good. And but we're going to leave it long because we're going to let him run this thing a few blows before we go ahead and seat it in all the way. It may try to go in a little bit further, but we have cut it off short enough to where it does clear the housing as it goes up. So that's a wrap for this one, and we still have to determine what to do on this bottom. I haven't talked to the owner about this damage down here on the lower ram, but he may elect just to go with it as it is and try this thing out. We're getting awful close to starting this thing up and stroking it a few times. We may go ahead and put the same old dye on the bottom and just stroke it on some wood a little bit. And as that hammers in a little bit, seats itself, we'll drive this key in to its final position and cut it off flush. So that's about all for today, and we'll be back, so stay tuned. Okay. You may have noticed that when I spotted this key in, that I didn't use Prussian blue, which would normally be used. I used Dykem. I just used layout ink. All I was looking for is witness spots. Yeah, so it worked. My Prussian blue, when I got it out this morning, evidently had expired because it turned into some kind of a chemical aberration, and so there's always another way to do it, and this was a small job. Okay.